their people's rights for governance. As you have seen that in the recent elections, there is a hue and cry, and even the ex-prime minister went to the court for the malpractices and bogus voting, which has been done by the BJP government. Then is like Jammu and Kashmir. We know all. We don't want to comment mostly on that, and then is the Khalistan.
I would like to come back. I would like to highlight the point that the violence is escalating every single day, because if we even look at the events, the incidents, the lootings, the raids on police stations, it has actually handed over a lot of firearms to these militias, and seems like the authorities have been weakened. So how do you look at the situation right now escalating every single day?
Look, when this separate movements become active, it is a resultant is the fragile law and order prevailing in that area, and resultant is that if they are very active, they will attack on the this law and order security agencies and loot up the arms and ammunition which they use against the law enforcement agencies. That's what is happening in Manipur and Assam and other countries and other states. On the one hand, India blamed Pakistan for its involvement in Kashmir liberation movement, which is the right of self-determination under the UN Charter. But on the other hand, it is trying to pacify the boiling up separatist movements, which I have recently mentioned. So it is not possible. The Indian present Hindutva-led government of BJP is an instrument which is crushing on to the people. They are not giving them the right of the civic rights which are required under a civic government. And also, there is a very pathetic situation of the minorities over there, which have been there after the BJP government came into power. So it is a very, very pathetic situation as far as the ruling of the present government of India is concerned.
Right. Thank you very much, Brigadier Retired Shahid Jaggi, Defense Analyst, for joining giving us your analysis. Fatma Shaheen, coming to you. How would you like your closing comment about this, the kind of transparency that is not there, the humanitarian crisis, the food aid is being denied? How do you look at the situation in your concluding comments?
Thank you, Marine. I think what is missed is the fact that when we talk about this, there have been not one, rather quite a few human rights violations. And this is something which, international organizations like the UN have raised. I was going over this report, which particularly highlighted the way their ethnic minorities, especially the women there, have been targeted, particularly them being gang raped, then being made to go around that too without clothes. And then there have also been reports to suggest that they've been burnt alive. And then we've also had the US State of Department expressing a lot of concern regarding, all the human rights abuses there. So I think when we do talk about this, what is not important to only focus upon is the fact that other than, of course, the fact that this is a complete governance state failure on part of the BJP government, what is also important to note is the rising human rights violations taking place there. And then again, of course, this also comes with India's being so-called the biggest, democracy around. And then when we talk about this, with regards to its constitutional responsibilities, even the constitutional responsibility of the central government, the BJP-led government, that too towards its respective states. And under Article 355, I remember, of the Indian Constitution, that is completely being put to honestly out of the trash can. And then I think lastly, what we need to talk about in this regard is also the fact that whereas at one end we see ethnic violence and rights of minorities being violated in countries like India, on the contrary, we do see very positive steps being taken in Pakistan. You would know that Pakistan now has a National Commission for Minority Rights too. We have different laws for different minorities, keeping in mind the specific religions in question. So the Pakistani authorities are very cognizant and sensitive to minority issues that way. And then of course we've had landmark Supreme Court judgments to this effect as well, upholding religious freedoms and minority rights. So I think overall, whereas of course we do see this as a failure of the state, whether it is in regards of intelligence or whether it is in terms of not there being proper accountability mechanisms, what we also need to consider is that this all amounts to a dire need for there to be better human rights checks and places in place, better constitution, more issues of constitution, basic obligations not being completed by the state of India. And lastly, how this can actually be contrasted with the Pakistani position of, Pakistani government being able to protect and uphold rights of minorities.
Thank you, Jawad Kahami, for being here with us on our show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Manipur burning under Hindutva. It is one of the most concerning internal conflicts that we are seeing right now in the region. And of course, it is the utter failure of the BJP government when it comes to governance or providing them security or giving them human rights. This is all for tonight's show. It's signing off. Stay tuned to Pakistan TV.
Welcome to Pakistan TV.
We should have clarity when we are going on air with something, with facts, etc.
Both live in uneasy neighborhoods.
To work straight away by working.
They have very successfully transformed PTV World into Part TV.
Do a lot, and we've seen that in other countries as well.
Here, both in terms of
It's also an opportunity to
Deliberately froze
the most serious threat.
Across the state channels.
And very late, it should have been to walk into Pakistan television and see the world-class infrastructure, to see world-class people, and to see the quality of work that is going on. I call the term AI development. And just recently,
I'm very proud that Pakistan TV is being quoted in international mainstream media. And I hope that we will be able to make a huge impact in the future as well, and we will become this region's #1 channel in Channel 9.
hello and welcome to Unfold. I am Jawad Kahami.
This was a remarkable achievement of Pakistan based on a combination of credibility of news and of our narrative.
The TTP is working from Afghan soil. It's closely related to the Taliban. They subscribe to the same playbook.
When it was a question of supporting offensive operations, in other words, U.S. airstrikes, especially on Iranian infrastructure, you had countries like Spain, like Italy, who stepped up and said, no, we're not going to go along with that.
India did not learn a lesson, and in fact they went into this episode of May 25 without any war strategy.
I don't think the Iranians are worried to upset Trump because they have nothing to lose. I mean, it's a do or die.
It is doing so not only for its own security, but for the security of the entire region, in fact the whole world.
A swift response that broke India's conventional dominance myth, and Pakistan response.
whistle blows before the final bell, there is a conversation. It's a language understood by every stadium, on every street corner. It's a moment your heart beats with million others. It's a roar of a crowd, a silence of anticipation. It's a triumphant cry of a champion. It's more than a game, it's a connection.
Speaks to the world.
You're watching Pakistan TV. This is Mohammed Abdullah Dar. Let's hear the top stories. US President Donald Trump says Pakistan played a key role in preventing a further escalation of conflict with Iran, saying he held back from delivering a final blow after a request from Pakistani intermediaries close to Tehran. Deputy Prime Minister Sardar holds telephone conversation with Uzbekistan's Foreign Minister Bakhtiar Saidov to discuss the bilateral ties and regional developments. Uzbek Foreign Minister appreciated Pakistan's constructive role in mediation efforts aimed at promoting regional peace and security. Israel continues military attacks across Lebanon despite an existing ceasefire arrangement as the United States announced a 45-day extension of the truce amid the efforts to prevent further escalation. At least 7 Palestinians killed and dozens injured in 2 Israeli airstrikes on a residential building and a civilian vehicle in Gaza city of Nakba Day. And Bangladesh's batting is underway against Pakistan in the second and final test at Sylhet International Cricket Stadium after Pakistan won the toss and elected to bowl first. Well, those were the headlines, and now for the news in detail. US President Donald Trump has said that Pakistan played a key role in preventing a further escalation of conflict with Iran, saying he held back from delivering a final blow after a request from the Pakistani intermediaries close to Tehran. In an interview with Fox News, Donald Trump said a very nice group of people from Pakistan asked him to stop in order to create space for a possible agreement.
Request of a very nice group of people from Pakistan who are very close to Iran. I didn't go the final. They said, could you stop? We're going to make a deal. And we really had the confines of a deal. No nuclear. They were going to give us the dust, nuclear dust, everything we wanted. And every time they make a deal, the next day it's like we didn't have that conversation. And that's taken place about 5 times. There's something wrong with them.
US President Donald Trump has warned against any formal declaration of independence by Taiwan, saying that Washington is not looking to have wars and preferred maintaining the current status quo across the Taiwan Strait. The United States recognizes only China and does not support formal independence by Taiwan, while historically stopping short of explicitly saying it opposes independence.
So, President Xi talks a lot about Taiwan. He thinks they cannot have anything to do with what they're doing. I mean, he's against very much what they're doing. We talked about Taiwan, we talked about Iran a lot, and I think we have a very good understanding with both.
Now, speaking to the reporters aboard Air Force One after concluding his visit to China, Donald Trump said the United States and China had signed bilateral trade agreements and expressed confidence that tensions over Taiwan would not escalate into a conflict. He said he would meet Chinese President Xi Jinping for the fourth time this year and revealed that the two leaders discussed nuclear arms reduction during their talks. Donald Trump said discussions with President Xi also covered China's possible purchase of the Iranian oil and increase the soybean imports from the United States. The U.S. president once again praised Pakistan's leadership for its mediation efforts between Washington and Tehran. Donald Trump said the United States agreed to a ceasefire agreement with Iran in favor of Pakistan, saying the Pakistani people as great people. The U.S. president praised Field Marshal Syed Asim Munir and Prime Minister of Pakistan Shehbaz Sharif, calling both leaders terrific people.
I'm not asking for any favor.